Test, 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 test. Okay, we got good levels. So, hey, Bob the Cigar Guy. I am trying something. Brand new attempt. You've probably already clicked off by now. I don't blame you. This is going to be called I Brought the Sticks, Let's Ride by BTCG, or with BTCG, or something like that. It's just a dabbling podcast. Good friend of mine, Law Ring. He's a freaking social media amazement. He was like, you're not a short content guy, and I'm not. I run my mouth a lot. I'm a long content guy. Wise Man Maduro, the OG box press. Great friend gave this to me. I'm stoked about it. What am I gonna light it with? So he said, you ought to try a podcast. I said, all right, let's try a podcast. And this basically, I'm going to tell you, is a test. Just trying it. I think I'm going to do 5 of them. See how it goes. If we get traction, we'll do it some more. If I like it, we'll do it some more. It's not going to be scripted. I'm not going to do detailed content. I'm not going to have a whole bunch of information and stuff like this. I'll talk about things of the day pretty much. But then again, so good. But then again, I'm gonna do these in batches and put them out to make sure this is something I want to do. I'm not just gonna do one. I'll probably do 4 or 5 of them and then see how the editing goes and see how it goes and put it up. So if I did the stuff of today, it wouldn't make sense. It might not be relevant, right? If this right now is October and I talk about Halloween, but I don't put it out till November. Don't make no sense. It's not relevant to you. What I hope by getting the name I Brought the Smokes, Let's Ride, it's just capturing you on that drive home from work, or if you're a long haul trucker and you just want to listen to something to get in your ears. I have a face for radio, right? So talking without you seeing me probably is a benefit to you, but I don't know how it works. I don't know if the audio goes with the video. I mean, I watched a couple YouTube videos on it, and it doesn't make any sense to me yet, but I'll probably throw this up on YouTube under their podcast line. And then if it takes off, we'll dabble into wherever the Spotify or whatever that stuff is, iHeartRadio. I don't know. I really don't know. So this is just my first one, episode 1. Where I can guarantee you every time, I hope, I'm going to be smoking a cigar. I'm going to be running my mouth for about an hour. Now, I can talk for an hour. I can talk for a long time. But is it something that you want to hear? That's the question. So I don't want to waste my time. This time is precious. The older I get, the more precious it is. And I don't want to waste your time. So if you're looking for something that's going to be well put together, Bubba, change channels. Cut me off right now. If you're looking for something that's got lots of edits and lots of music and lots of this and lots of that and lots of sound clips and sound bites, Bubba, you ain't in the right spot. If you're looking for a place to tell dirty jokes and have inappropriate communication, no. If you're looking for funny jokes, not. I mean, I'm selling the fool out of this, ain't I? I mean, I've told you everything it ain't, and don't do it, and don't watch it. I guess that's just me saying I need to have an excuse why nobody watches my video so I don't feel like I'm a loser. True. What? This Wise Man Maduro, the OG blend. I was so sad when Nick Melillo decided he was going to get rid of it. I understand why. Companies have to change their portfolios based upon the tobaccos. Maybe there's a new cigar blend that used a lot of the tobacco that was used in this, and he only has so much. He says that's a moneymaker, and I'm going to push towards that, or he's trying something new, or he's just got to pull something out. I don't know his numbers, but I know that, things change. You're creative, and so you create something, and, the Mona Lisa is only one painting, right? The David is only one statue. They didn't make tons and tons of Davids. Somebody else copied and made them, but the true artist didn't. I mean, they're moving on to something else. And so You build something, you make something, you love something, and then you say, okay, I want to build something, make something, love something else. Why not? Now, what this podcast, right? What this podcast is going to be, it's just a junk in my head. I might talk about a lighter. I might talk about a cutter. I might talk about an experience. I might talk about Star Wars and the fact that there's only 3. I fight you. Everything else is Star Wars adjacent. I may talk about traffic. I may talk about how awesome you are, because that's true. Whether I say it or not, it's a fact. The world's better because you're here. But let's jump off with talking about this Wise Man Maduro real quick. We're 5.5 minutes in. We're already a 12th of the way done. Math is good, right? Delicious. Delicious. Let's see. I looked up on the interweb. I can't tell you the website I went to. Great people. Abe DeBabna runs that. So if you know anything about cigars and the rock and roll and a great online purveyors of tobacco tasty treats, you know who I'm talking about and how to get there. But when I do reviews, let me talk to you about this. When I do reviews, by the way, this won't be a review. When I do reviews, I talk about the blend. I always do. Some people don't care, but I kind of like it. You know, I just like to know a little bit, because if I've got a tobacco that I notice most of my cigars have, then the next time I go to a store and I research it or I find out about it and I say, oh, that's got tobacco X, then I'm going to be more inclined to try it. And if there's a cigar that the blend is just not for me, and it's got a heavy amount of whatever tobacco Y is, and I see that on another cigar, I might tiptoe into maybe buying one and trying it, comparatively to buying a box. So that's just me. So let's talk about this just a little bit on the website. I'm just going to read it, right? I mean, don't look at me. You're driving, hopefully. No need to look at me. Just listen to the silk voice of Bob the Cigar Guy. I might sing sometime too, but not right now. Let's see. So it says, nearly a decade later, the El Huense, which is the Wise Man Maduro. That red band is banging. The El Huense line has been reimagined as the Wise Man, which is English translation for El Huense, offering the cigars in both Corojo and Maduro variants. The El Huense Maduro is what we're smoking, is what I love. This includes a new look, new tobaccos, and a new factory. As company owner-founder Nick Melillo has partnered with the legendary Garcia family of My Father Cigars fame to bring the project to life. The Wise Man from Foundation Cigar Company features both the Wise Man Corojo and the Wise Man Maduro blends, each making use of all Nicaraguan tobaccos throughout the cigar's binder and filler recipes. This includes a double binder from the Esteli and Jalapa regions, with fillers being harvested from Condega, Esteli, and Jalapa. All those are different areas in Nicaragua. Maybe we'll talk about that. The Wise Man Maduro uses a Mexican San Andreas cover leaf. And Mexican San Andreas and broadleaf, rosados, those are all tobaccos that I lean towards very, very, very quickly. Usually, I love the Mexican San Andreas. Now, the Mexican San Andreas, that tobacco variety has what's called toothiness. Now, toothiness, if you ever smoke your cigar and it's got Mexican San Andreas on the outside and it's a high toothy, okay, there's different levels. High toothy, you're going to see all these little white spots in the ash. Oh my gosh, it just looks like a starry night. It's just amazing. And those little toothy dots are basically concentrations of oil. And in your tobacco, when you smoke your cigar, the concentrations of oil is the thing that gives you flavors. It's the oil in the tobacco that gives you those delicious flavors. That's why when you get a cigar that maybe you found in your attic of your great grandpappy's house, or grandmammy, I'm not going to judge, and it's been sitting up there forever, in a box, maybe White Owl or something like that, and you want to smoke what your grandpa smoked, so you bring it down and it's crusty dry, but it doesn't look cracked or whatever, and so you humidify it. You can actually humidify that cigar and bring it back to where it is of a smokable ability. But the flavors, it's not going to be there because the oils have just left the building. And because of that, you can't get all the flavors that have evacuated from that cigar. Huh. Mexican San Andreas tobacco can be extremely toothy. It can have all sorts of little white dots and deets. Or it can be very lightly peppered with these little spots. That does not make one better than the other. They are different grades. I don't know if it's based on the primings. I don't know if it's based on the growing. I don't know if it's based on the weather. But I do know that a Mexican San Andreas with a little less, well, let's talk about it. Sorry. The toothiness, the higher the rate of toothiness, the more you're going to get the black pepper, the minerality, the turned earth, the spiciness. That Mexican San Andreas experience, you're going to get more of that. You're going to get that pepper forward. Well, okay. So if you've got that, and then some have more, some have less, well, then I guess that means that the one with more probably is more spicy, more peppery, more in your face. You're right. At least that's what I've learned. Now, I will preface that with, I am just Bob the Cigar Guy. I have never rolled cigars commercially. I've rolled a couple badly. I have sat with many master blenders and a number of master blenders and got to talk to them about their process. Watched lots of videos and researched. I'm a nerd, but I am by no means an expert. I'm an expert in smoking the cigar that I'm smoking at that moment, and then after that, I'm an expert in the next cigar that I'm smoking at that moment. So, if you find out information that's different than me, if somebody disagrees with me and this and that, that is more than fine, because you know what? I am okay being wrong. I am. But these are just the experiences and the figuring out that I have done these years smoking cigars. So, let's talk about, we're already 12 minutes in. Wow, it's 20% gone. Man, you're still here? Thank you to all two of you. Anyway, it said that the tobacco, the binder, and the filler comes from Esteli, Jalapa, Condega, Esteli, and Jalapa, right? The first two were the double binder, and the next three were the fillers. So what's the big deal? Are they just trying to romanticize and blow up and extra promote, saying that it's from different parts of Nicaragua? Actually, no. Now, do you need to know all that? No, actually, you don't need to know what cigar is made out of, except that it's all tobacco, long filler tobacco, with a little bit of vegetable glue to hold the cap and the seam on. Right? You don't smoke the band, so you don't even need to worry about the band is, but usually it's paper. Unless it's something like Aventura or other places where they're metal, and then the bands have that shiny paint on it, some metal paint, right? Don't smoke that. It will change your profile. It's not good for you either. Sorry about that. My cigar's going out. I'm running my mouth too dang much. Let me tap that ash off. Let me get a good light on this, because this cigar is worth paying some attention to. That's what I'll talk about today. I'll talk about something that just happened to me that I'll probably do a video on. And you can watch that, so look out for that. I don't know whether I'll do it or not, but I took pictures, so why not? Here we go. Now she puffing. Boy, he tastes good. That leathers, that slight minerality, turned earth, slight black pepper, a little bit of cedar oakiness. So good. So good. I like the fact that I don't have a script. I don't know if you like the fact that I don't have a script because it just goes wherever it goes. My mind is a very interesting place, and if you got in there, you tie a rope to your waist because you're going to have someone pull you out because you're going to get lost because there's lots of turns and dead ends and side roads and sparklies and squirrel, right? It's one of those things in my head. It's true. But the leathers, the oakiness, the little hints of cedar, the minerality of the turned earth, the black pepper, a little bit of dark coffee espresso. And all those are great flavors, and I've done those flavors. I've talked about those flavors and tasted those flavors in many cigars. But how you put them together in a flavor and how you make sure that one is not overshadowing the other is just the signature of different master blenders. And this blend is just one of my favorites of all time. I mean, I have a handful of cigars that I would classify as my favorites. Am I going to tell you? No, probably not. But this one, it's amazing. Nick Melillo's amazing too. Great, great fella. Loves ska music. He does. He loves people. He loves history. He's very, very knowledgeable. Amazing, amazing, knowledgeable fellow. And just so kind. So kind and friendly. You would never know that he's just top of the game just by meeting him. You could sit in a pizza joint and just strike up a conversation with him and just, he doesn't talk about himself. He asks you about you and he talks about life and he just has fun. Amazing fella. Anyway. By the way, if this ever goes to podcast, if this ever gets published, posted, whatever it is, if you find things that are very irritating, other than my voice and my face, because I can't change that much, I guess I can cut the lights off, turn the volume down. But if there's something that just, that's just irritating, I like being better. I mean, I don't want to have a script, I don't want this and that, but I don't want to tick you off for no reason. If I want to tick you off, I want to tick you off because I want to. I don't want to. Because you're awesome. You probably beat me up and take my lunch money, and I like lunch. More than I should, probably. Lunch. One of my three favorite meals. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then there's snacks. And there's dessert. Dessert's not a snack, it's a dessert. Then there's donuts in the middle. Donut. Let's go. Anyway, sorry. So, about what happened to me today. I was sitting here editing a video, the Adventura Blue-Eyed Jack. I'm having problems with the computer. It was really frustrating. Come to find out that every time I post up a video, or I edit a video on Final Cut Pro, that I have to download all the images from my phone. I have tons of images. And then I scroll through and I find the one video, the two clips of video, and a couple pictures or whatever. And then I use those for the video, and then I'd get out and I'd do another video, right? And so I didn't know this, but it was saving all of those pictures every stinking time. Now I grind. I do a ton of videos, right? We do a ton of content. I do a ton of editing, sadly. And so over the past years of having this computer, I have built up, it's got a terabyte of memory, whatever that is. It's a Ugattle's buttload, right? My computer said last video, the Aventura video, I tried to edit the first time, it said, you ain't got no space. So I had to watch a YouTube video on my phone to find out what was going on, and I had used up a half a terabyte of memory on all these things over and over again. So I was fighting with that. I finally figured it out. I'm not technical. It's not my thing. So I was frustrated. I got it done. I was successful, and I felt good about myself. And when I feel good about myself, I like to celebrate with a cigar. When I'm frustrated, I like to celebrate with my cigar. When I'm tired, I like to celebrate with a cigar. When I'm just waking up, I like to celebrate with a cigar. I'm seeing a trend here. Good trend. Anyway, so I was firing up a cigar. happened to be, I think, a sample I got from PCA. Got it in a big old Bovita bag with a Bovita pack. Might not have been humidified perfectly, but it was a long cigar, 7.5 inches. Connecticut shade wrapper, meaty, full binder filler. It's a sleeper. You think you're going to get something like a golf cigar that's real light and real easy, and then you get into it and you're like, wow, this is something. So I was smoking it. And I got down, I don't know, half an inch, watching videos, waiting for it to upload, because I did the video, and it's having to render or whatever the heck that is. So I was having to upload it, and so when it's uploading, I watch videos. And I watched the episode of Tulsa King. So I'm watching Sylvester Stallone do his thing, and I'm not paying no mind to the cigar, and I get about a half. I probably get 3/4 inch to an inch, and I look at it, and my burn is just awful, wonky as get out. I mean wonky. So one side of the cigar was a 1/4 inch burned, the other side of the cigar was an inch burn, and it did not look like it was doing good. It started to look like, the black spot runs in front of that peak running up the ash, and I'm like, oh, this is going to run. So what? I'm not doing it on video. I'm not worried about it. Let's just smoke this thing. So I said, I'll touch it up. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going to touch it up. Now, the mascara line was tight. The tobacco had been aged really well. It might have been a manufacturing issue. Sometimes it is, if they hadn't pack it right when they roll it. There's a void, air, right? Usually you can get tunneling that way too, but sometimes it's just from under humidification or over humidification. But anyway, I don't know. I wasn't worried about it. So I said, well, let's see. And so I smoked that thing, and I got down 2.5 inches. This is a 7/8 inch cigar. I got down 2.5 inches, and this thing has now become a crap show. The ash is still there, but that's because the backside of it was hardly ever burned. It's probably 3/4 of an inch burned on one side, 2 inches on the other, and it was wrapped around where there was this little strip of tobacco that hadn't been burned running up the back of it. That was maybe 1/3 of the cigar. Didn't taste bad. Smoke output was great. It didn't get bitter. I smoked it in tempo, so I didn't smoke it fast, because if you smoke it fast like that, you're going to get such a big cherry. It's going to turn very bitter. If you get a cigar that just turns bitter on you, pay attention to how fast you're smoking it, because when you start lighting that thing up and you get it hotter and hotter and hotter, that smoke the temperature goes up, and the tobacco can push out some flavors that you don't get when you're smoking it in tempo. And when it gets hotter, actually, the more bitter, the more comes out, and you get a higher level of nicotine. That's why you shouldn't hotbox your cigar, because you get woozy and your stomach will get hurt, right? You don't want that. You just want to enjoy a cigar. I do. Maybe you do. That's why long ass cigar contests are so much fun, because they pull out some monster cigar that just, it's rough in the beginning, but you got to smoke it fast because you only have so much time, and you get the woozy and the whoops, and it's funny. It's funny to watch. But anyway, so I burned that thing down. I'm about 2.5 inches in, 3 inches in, 2 inches, 3 inches, yeah, something like that. And I notice, and it's done this before to me, I've experienced this before, where the burn actually starts to wrap itself back around. It does. It starts to fix itself, but it's made an island out of that little piece of unburnt tobacco, which honestly looks kind of cool. I know it's not fancy. If I was at a lounge, for God's sakes, there's no way that I would sit there and smoke that like that. I touch it up really quick. I don't want to give the manufacturer grief, and I don't want to look like an idiot with a crooked sticking up cigar where, the ash is pointing up, but the burn on the back is, it looks like I don't know how to smoke a cigar. I know how to smoke a cigar. I do. I mean, to be the best at it, I may not be fancy. I may not be an aficionado, but I can smoke a cigar. At least good enough for me. I pull flavors. I enjoy smoke. I have a moment. I have peace. I have pause. I have celebration. I have, it does what it needs to do. That tobacco is just giving me the opportunity to just take a moment, especially when I need it. So I do that well. So I keep burning this thing down. I keep smoking it, and I'm watching it, and it literally fixes its own burn. It gets laser, honestly. Like if I put up the video, you'll see the pictures. I don't know if I'll put up the video. But it gets laser. And the mascara line. All right, mascara line. That's that little black line between when you have ash, tobacco that's already been smoked, and then there's tobacco yet to be smoked. In between that two, that barrier between the two is a little thin black line, which somebody coined the phrase way back when as a mascara line, which makes sense because, women put on mascara. Gene Simmons puts on mascara. The line is thin usually, and it's very dark. It separates, it accentuates, it dramatizes, I don't know, the little wings on the side of the face and all this stuff, right? But anyway, that's the mascara line. Mascara line was tight and tiny. That's important because if the tobacco has not been aged well, if it's not ready to go, if it's not gone through its process enough, if it was pushed and rushed, it can be big, it can be bubbly, it can be lumpy, it can be all these things, and then you're usually going to pull a high tinniness because it's a possibility there's still some ammonia left lingering in there because they didn't let it peel on or air out or age out like it's supposed to. Right? You learn something. So I just kept smoking it. I took my time. Ash got to be about 4 or 5 inches. I started smoking it like a long ash contest. I started pointing it straight up to the sky like a periscope, looked like an idiot, puffing, leaning back in my chair, holding it up like I'm fancy with my pinky out. I was doing that because I wanted to keep taking pictures. So I was like, what, this could be a cool video. Right? Maybe. Just neat, people will watch that. But I took the pictures in the up and down way, the portrait way, instead of landscape. So I don't know how I'm going to put that on freaking a video, since my videos are sideways, landscape, the long ways, the wider than it is tall, kind of like me. I'll figure it out, I think. Ken Burns is a friend of mine. Actually, that's part of the process. When you watch a video that kind of zooms in and it rolls up different parts of the picture, that's usually a part of a program called Ken Burns. I guess he made it, I'd gather. I don't know. I didn't research it. But it goes up and down, or it goes side to side, or it zooms in one way or the other. That way you can take a picture and make it kind of look like a movie, so it's like a video, so it's more engaging. Or you're focusing on different points. It's good for transitions and stuff. I do it sometimes. It's actually easy. I mean, you can do it fancy, but that's a lot more work, and I don't need all that. Chief does that stuff. Chief does a great job at that. He does a great job at that stuff. And that's why it's called Chief. It's short for Editor-in-Chief. So I smoked that cigar, 8-inch cigar, 7.5-inch cigar, down to less than an inch. Got to the finger burning zone. And by the time I got to the end, it was laser straight across. When the ash fell off, it fell off at 3-4 inches. There was hardly any peak in the middle, which is evidence of, if you have a tall peak in the middle, that means that you smoking it way too fast. It's not allowing it to burn and catch up. And that's where you can get your bitterness. That's where you can get more burn problems. That's where you can get more smokability issues. And so if you're smoking it on tempo, right, nice and slow but steady, keep it lit, but don't over smoke it. When you're smoking it in tempo, then it's smooth all the way across, and that's exactly how the cigar manufacturer wants you to smoke the cigar, because that is the experience they're wanting you to have. It's true. But I got down to the very end of it, and I was like, "This is a great cigar." If I wouldn't have had those first couple inches, I would have said this was an amazing cigar, an amazing cigar experience. And so, excuse me, now we're halfway done. Not too shabby. So, for a cigar smoking experience, that is not good. I would touch it up. If it kept doing it, I'd pitch it. I would. Because it's not giving me what I wanted. But then I started thinking about it. If my life was a cigar, there's a whole lot more of me that had a bad burn. There was a whole lot more of the experiences of my life which weren't laser. But I didn't stop. My life continues. And living life in tempo, like smoking, I give myself the best opportunity to straighten out that burn. I give myself time. I give myself space. Now, sometimes in my life, I needed touch-ups. I needed to redo my thought process. I needed to adjust, to remove from me things that were causing my life to not be a good burn. And then there were times in life, like that island of wrapper that got burnt around, that I just left it behind and just kept moving and kept grinding. If I would have focused on that little piece, I never would have gotten to that laser burn, which hopefully leads me to a much better piece. Like that word, that little wordplay. See, this is not scripted. I just thought that up all by myself. I'm pretty proud of that. This Wawense Maduro, El Wawense Maduro OG is just burning amazingly. It's delicious. It's delightful. It's still wonderful. So, people. Let me get a sip of coffee. I'm a big yellow cup. Big old Dickie's cup. I like lots of coffee. I don't do the little cups of coffee even when I went to Europe and they do the little espressos. I tell them to put like 10 espressos together in a cup and give me some sugar and some cream. And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Bubba, don't worry about me." And so I drank it and wouldn't blink for a day. Loved it. Enjoy it. Drink it all in. Don't have the little one, I have the big one. Anyway. People. I think a lot of people, if you categorize their life as a burning cigar, all right, that's a little stretch, but yeah, let's go with that. They have a lot more burn issues than laser moments. Some. Because their life wasn't, they got ahead of their life. They rushed the process. Like the tobacco that is burning badly. Also, the construction of their life is just not good. Them rolling their life did not They did not take care. Maybe their life's underhumidified or overhumidified. That's kind of weird, right? I live in Arizona, so I'm underhumidified. I live in South Carolina, Travelers Rest in the summer. I'm overhumidified. No, what I'm saying is humidification comes from the environment. Tobacco sucks up the moisture or the dryness of the area they are contained in. And so maybe some people have contained themselves in an area that does not help them have their life have a burn that is the best. Not scripted. I'm just off the cuff, right? But if people don't give up, if people clean up those moments, tighten themselves up, get rid of things they need to get rid of, bring things in they need to bring in, they can bring themselves to hopefully a laser burn, to that perfect smoking experience in life. If life was a cigar, we only got one. I don't want to pitch my cigar. I want to burn that thing till my fingers are on fire. I want to burn that thing till my lips hurt, because I want to drink in every last moment of that smoking experience. So I started thinking about it. There are people in my life that I have looked at them and said, they're a wonky burn. Pitch that. There's something wrong with that guy, that girl. Man, that ain't no good. That's no bueno people right there. But what if I just met those people in the first inch and a half of their cigar experience? And if I allowed them, well, if later on in life, I don't have anything to do with it, so I wouldn't allow anybody to do anything. Later on in life, they may put things in place and touch up their burn or work through their burn and end up being amazing people. It can happen. It's possible. They could just be wonky all their life because they make bad choices, bad decisions, and choose to do so. I hope not. But then there's those people that look like they got it all together. You know, you see them on Facebook all the time. Perfect life. Perfect everything. Got it all together. Looking good. Living large. Got the world by a string. Maybe. Possibly. Probably. There were times in their life that they had lived like a wonky burn. And I just happened to meet them once they got through it. So I guess what I'm saying is we shouldn't discount or discard those people that are wonky. Maybe we should help them, if possible, tighten their burn up, if possible. Sometimes you need to get away from a wonky burn, though. Don't allow yourself to be drawn into the mess that they're in because it's their mess and they own it. And they'll be more than happy to share it with you if you're not careful. So make sure that you take care of your burn. But maybe I need to cut the wonky burns some slack in the hopes that they laser out. And maybe when I look at the laser people, the perfect people, I need to remember that those people have a history. That those people have a past. That those people are probably, even though you never see it, you never know it, are probably carrying around some stuff that you would not expect. Some wonky burn moments. Some pain, some trauma, some sadness, some regrets. And I wonder, deep down inside, do those people see their life as a laser burn? Or do those people still see their life as that bad piece of tobacco on the side that just wouldn't catch fire? I wonder. That's interesting. I did not expect this to be this. I did not expect to have this conversation. I was like, I'm just going to come on. I'm going to be lighthearted. I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be the guy sitting next to you in the vehicle, just on a ride running my mouth. Just an escape for you for an hour to just chill and relax. That was it. Just entertainment. I did not expect it to go deep like this. That's interesting. Will it be this way every time? I have no clue. I don't think so. But not having a script, I have no clue what it's going to be. I hope your drive home is an hour. Because I tell you, I am not worth you sitting in the parking lot after a long day's work, sitting in your driveway at the house, going, oh, he's got another 18 minutes. I can't get off. I can't stop now. I'm just going to sit in the car for 18 minutes. Bubba. Turn this thing off and get in the house. Go live your life. Go take a pause. Go take a break. Go take a moment. Go be with the ones you love. Go do the things you love to do. You work hard. You do. I know you. You do. And so you need to get out of work, change your clothes, grab a bite to eat, veg out a little bit, spend time with the family, talk about your day, listen about your days and the days of other people. I know when I come home every day from work, I got a 45-minute drive from the car mill. I work at BMW Manufacturing in Greer, South Carolina. Greer, right? I'm in Travelers Rest. It's about 45 minutes with traffic because we got 18,000 employees, I think, and it's 2 shifts, so you got we got a city leaving every day, and I'm not one to run to the car. From where I clock out at is a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile to where my car is. I'm 54, and these young kids, they clock out and they run. They book it to their car so that they can be first to get out of the plant and get home. I get it. Not me. They actually bring an extra pair of shoes. We got to wear these heavy safety shoes, different safety shoes, and they will bring Crocs, which freak me out, trip me out. Slides, which is silly to me. Sneakers. They put on these light shoes like they're getting ready to run a competition. I'm like, that's just an extra job for me to do. I ain't changing my shoes. I'll change shoes when I get home, right? But they are motivated to get out. So when I get in my car after walking 10 minutes, parking lot's 3/4 empty, but the road is not to get out of the plant. And so I sit there and wait in traffic, and I just am patient. It takes me 45 minutes to get home. And when I get home, almost every day, let me back this up. My Gracie, my daughter Caitlin, she works at BMW. She works night shift. I'm proud of her. My son used to work at BMW for a while. Good while. Proud of him too. But she works at BMW night shift, and so she sleeps in the day, she works at night, and so the kids go to school. Her 2 kids, Macy and Caden, my grandkids. Her kids go to school, and when they get off of school, Caitlin wakes up, picks them up, and gets herself ready, spends an hour or so, hour and a half with the kids, and then she drives over to the house, and she drops the kids off to Grammy. And Grammy feeds them, makes sure they go to Wednesday night Bible group, which is kind of fun at the church. They really look forward to that. I'm so thankful that she's so invested. She does her homework with them and all this and that, and then Caitlin takes off for work, and then we got the kids overnight. Well, every single day, when I come in the door after a long day's work, a hard day's work, usually, I have to hurry up, open the door, and sit everything down. I go through the kitchen door, sit everything down on the counter because I will hear, "Ready?" And I'm like, "Yep." My little Macy, 8 years old, 9 years old, 9 years old, she will come running full bore and leap into my arms with no fear of not being caught. Don't ever let me not catch her. I mean, she just jumps with reckless abandon, arms out, ready to give me a hug. And that just starts my change from being out in the world and everybody taking from me to coming home, and this little girl just gives me something. So I started telling her, "You know, I love when you give me a hug. This is my favorite hug of the day." And then I tell her that her Big Daddy loves her. That's what they call me, Big Daddy. Actually, I chose Big Daddy when Macy's our first grandkid. We now have 5: Macy, Caden, Jackson, Ember, and Shepherd. In that order. I'm pretty cool with that. And so I did not want to be called Grandpa Pop or Pop Pop or Papa or Grandpa or anything. I was like, I'm too young for that. I'm not playing this crap. They used to call me Big Nasty when I had my hot rod custom shop, and I don't want to be Big Nasty anymore. That was a whole different world. That was a wonky burn in my life. And so I'm Big Daddy. And so they call me Big, but I hugged her and I said, "You know, Big Daddy loves you forever and ever. You are my favorite Macy in the whole wide world." And I mean that, and I want her to know that she's loved, and I want you to know that you're loved, because we don't get much encouragement. We don't get many moments of hugs. People try to take from us. Society tries to take from us. People try to make us think that we have to fit into a box or be somebody else to be good enough. That's a lie. But I do that. And recently, when she jumps into my arms and she hugs me, she leans into my ear and she goes, "This is what I've been waiting for all day." And the first time she said it, I about cried. It melted my heart. When she looks at me, and when she sits with me on the couch, and when Caden and them sit with me on the couch, They don't see a wonky burn. In their eyes, my life is laser. I hope that you get that experience regularly of somebody thinking you're a laser burn. You know where it starts? It starts with you. You can be your biggest cheerleader, you can be your biggest villain. Pick up your pom-poms and cheer. Now, let's say you're a dad or a grandpa or a big dad or whatever, and you've got a kid that is 18, 19, linebacker on a football team in high school, 220, 230 pounds. I would highly recommend you not saying, hey, you know, when I get off of work, why don't you just run and jump in my arms? Unless you are like the world's strongest man or woman. I won't discriminate. But the action may be the hug, but the emotion is the love. And just a smile or a nod or a hey or a hug or a non-jump-in hug, I believe gives you the same experience to your heart and to your spirit. So, I hope we got 9 minutes. I'm trying to make this an hour. I hope that you know how valuable you are. I hope that you know that never ever in this world has there been anybody like you. I hope that you know that you were created for greatness. And that when you act out the essence of who you are, life is laser. You should have wonky burns. You should have moments you need to touch up. Because it's those experiences that make the smoke that much sweeter when it gets back to laser. Not for a cigar, but for life. Because for a cigar, I like laser all the way back. I'm not that big on it. I don't mind touching up. I'm still smoking a cigar. I still got 3 inches or so of this Wise Man Maduro, and I ain't putting it down. But I won't wear you out for longer. But I will finish smoking this cigar. I will. If you've ever gotten a point in your life where you say, you know what, this burn, I let it go too long, I can't touch it up. This burn is just too bad. I just need to put it down and be done. I'm talking about your life. If you've ever gotten to a point where you can't, you feel like you can't recover, you feel like you can't give, you feel like it's not worth living, you feel like it's not worth doing, you feel like you need to take actions that stop your smoking experience, don't. There's more cigar left. There's more life left. There's a purpose. You're there. No matter what you've been through, tomorrow can be a better day. If tomorrow's not a better day, the next day can be a better day. I promise. I promise. Nothing in life is worth nothing in life. I promise. If you ever get to that point, please tell somebody. And if they don't listen, tell somebody else. Dial a hotline. Call somebody. Message me. I ain't got no answers. I ain't got no this and that, but I got an ear. I'll listen. I will. You're worth it. You have love to give, and you're worth being loved. And I do mean that. I do. I do. So, now that we've all got sad and serious, it's on your ride home. You're supposed to be having fun. Hopefully the next one, if I do a next one, hopefully the next one will be more lighthearted. Maybe I'll tell you some stories of my wonky burns, because they are cautionary tales, but they are usually hilarious. I have done some stupid stuff. Oh my gosh. The dumbness that I have gone through is just crazy. I mean, crazy. Just duct taping myself to a skateboard, wearing a poncho as a sail in a tsunami, flying down a pier on a naval base and end up getting jettisoned into the ocean, which was very angry, is probably not the smartest thing to do. I did it. Jumping off roofs onto pine trees so I could slide, or the palm trees to slide down so I could be cool. I did it. Oh my gosh, the stories. So maybe we'll tell some stories. I know we have story time with Bobby and Squatchy. But who knows? Maybe we'll just wax elegant. I dropped a frog gigging, and the first time frog gigging actually stabbed an alligator in his head, and the alligator snatched my frog gig out of my hand. I just bought the dang thing, $12. That was a lot of money back then, in the 80s. I went in after it in the middle of the night. Stupid. I'm telling you, I'm dumb as dumb. I have done some stuff. And maybe you want to hear it, maybe you don't. And if you don't, I understand. I do. My family rolls their eyes, and I get that too. But I've done some pretty cool stuff too. I've done some things that are intense, but some things that are lighthearted and interesting, and maybe we'll talk about those. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a joke to end this. We got, I don't know, 2.5 minutes. So maybe we'll talk about some of the people that I run into, some of the people that come visit me in the studio. We have visitors in the studio, some of the people that I've come across in the cigar industry and others. Maybe I'll talk about what hits me, like this cigar, right? But I do guarantee one thing. I will always know you're valuable. I'll always be a champion for you. On these podcasts, I will always smoke a cigar, and I will always run my mouth. And it should always be for an hour. It won't be good, but hopefully it'll be good enough. So, let me close with a joke. It's a Boston joke. It's the only joke come to mind right now that's short and appropriate. And I think it's funny. It cracks me up all the time. Especially when I meet people above the north of the Mason-Dixon line, which I affectionately call Yankees. It's about Boston. Boston beans. Right? You know Boston beans. Call them baked beans down here, but Boston beans. Did you know that in Boston... I love this joke. It's a stupid dad joke. Did you know in Boston... You got to use accent. In Boston, when you order one serving of Boston baked beans... because it comes with 239 beans. Why? Here it is. Because one more bean would make it 240. You get it, 40. You got to use the accent. Like 40, 40. Like poot. When you got to explain a joke, it's not that good. But I love you. And I'll see you later, because we are down in 26 seconds. So in 26 seconds, I just want to tell you I love you and I thank you for watching. Please leave me a comment, because if I don't get any comments, if I don't get any views, I'm not going to keep doing this, because it's just, I don't want to waste your time. And I don't want to waste my time, because time is precious. Every second. So drink in every second you can. And remember, in my book, you live the laser burn. I love you. Later, Tater. Boom.